So Matt, what do you want to see from your team in the last two games of the season?
A little bit. Some of the things that we've seen over my short period of obviously being a manager. I think early on in the we're going to say campaign, but it's not been a campaign, has it? Although it feels like one. Of the first time we come in, we play with a lot of better energy. I think obviously there's reasons why don't have that energy now. And that is something that I'm kind of biting my lip with a little bit, because I know that I can't click my fingers and make everybody 100% fitter and 100% more knowledge, 100% over one in and out of possession. So look, there's loads of positive things, and there were positive things at Wigan, but there are a lot of negative things, and it's down to me to try and change that.
Like I said, a lot of positives at Wigan. Maybe a negative, your side missed quite a few chances. Do you want to see more of a clinical edge from your team at Stevenage?
Yeah, but I don't think I'd be the only manager who said that to you. I think that every team needs to be clinical. Again, I think there's reasons that I won't go on here and tell you why that is, but I think there's reasons for that. So again, that'll be down to me and coaching staff when they're coming to improve upon that. But look, I can't moan too much. We've scored a lot of goals in this short period of time. So look, we had one game where we should have taken opportunities, but that's going to happen in these next two games. We'll create chances and not take them. But I like to think, hopefully, that one or two of them will go out of the way and go in the back of the net.
You said after post-match at Wigan how you'd learnt a lot heading into the summer. How firm in your mind are you now of the players that you want to keep?
I know anyway, yeah. I don't think there are any questions that I didn't know that. We'll get this last game done and then decisions will be made, but I'm fully aware. I know how it looks, I know which direction we're moving in, I know what changes need to happen. And yeah, look as in always in football, it's disappointing because you're dealing with people, and first and foremost, I'm a person myself who wants to be respected. So I think that when I make these decisions, it won't just be made off drop of a hat. However, like anybody will tell you, you have to do it your way, and you have to do it in a way that you think suits me, what I want as a manager, but be this football club. And I think that there has to be change, because this season hasn't gone as well as it should have done for this football club. And again, that'll be down to me and a group of staff that come in to try and change that. But decisions will be made for the right reasons, and then we'll all get our heads together and collectively move forward and in a direction that I see fit.
How easy will a rework or a rebuild be in the summer?
It's always hard. I don't think any club will say they get everything right. I mean, you only have to look locally at like Sheffield United, who move players out to bring players in, and it takes time. It's not just a case of clicking your fingers and you get every player you want. I wish that I could get every player I want. I'm well aware that I won't. It could be that it's second, third, fourth choice that we get. That doesn't mean to say they're bad players. That just means they need an opportunity. But there's areas that we'll need to progress in. There's areas that I'm big on that I want to see. And I'm sure that the meetings I've had so far this week and last week and week before I come in have all been positive. So it's an interesting time. It's a time that I'm really looking forward to, and it's a time that the fans should really look forward to. Changes, I think, can always be a good thing, and I'm sure one day there'll be another guy sat here and I've left and he'll be saying exactly the same. But you have to implement what it is that you want, and make sure that there's real clarity on that throughout the chairman, the board of directors and myself.
Could we see any big earners be sold in the summer?
Again, look, I'm not going to talk about individual cases on here. I'll move forward in the right direction, and then as soon as decisions are made, then decisions will be made, and by all means, when all that's dealt with myself and the players, will be well happy to answer questions then.
Has a deadline been set for Hakeem Odoffin and Cameron Humphreys in terms of when they're telling their club about their futures?
There's ongoing contract negotiations at the minute, so we're trying to move that forward. Again, I'll stress to add, look, I really want players to stay here. We don't offer contracts out if we don't feel like we want them to stay. It's not just done willy-nilly. But at the same time, I'm also well aware that there are other clubs who'll want your players who might be able to pay more money. Look, that I'm not. If this was, I don't know, pick a club, Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal or Man United come in, like highly likely it is they can pay more than Tottenham. Look, that is football. It's down to myself, the recruitment team, the football club, to make sure that we identify targets, and we've got a number of targets, not just 2 or 3, and we're happy to move. And look, there might be an opportunity for us to get a bargain. There might be an opportunity where we have to pay a little bit more. But that is the market, and that is something that myself as a manager has to make a decision on. And I know as well as anybody that the decisions that I make on that will be key to the progression of the football club.
Would you say a big rebuild is needed in the summer, or is it just a case of adding a few players?
A bit of both. I think. Look, again, I'm not going to go into loads of detail here to you, but you'll see things on and off the pitch that'll, whether they make waves, I don't know. But there's going to be change. There has to be change. There will be change. But again, that's just part and parcel of football. And the fortunate position that I'm in is that I've had that opportunity at the back end of this season to see that. I think that I'd have probably come in the summer and not seen it. It could have probably surprised me a little bit more. But I well and firmly, truly believe that I know what needs to happen.
How close are you to adding more to your coaching staff?
That'll happen in summer. So I'm ongoing talks, negotiations, whatever you call it, with different people. I'm not just going to go down a route of, oh, well, I've been close with him, he's my mate, I'm going to bring him in. And I'm going to make sure that I get out and speak to as many people as I can, because it's important. Not only for myself but this football club, that we get the right people, because if you don't get the right people, it can have dire consequences, as you see up and down different football clubs. So look, I've been really accurate with who I'm trying to get in. If that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, again, like I've just said to you, recruiting players is exactly the same as recruiting staff. You move on to the next one, but you make sure that you know what they're going to bring, what they're going to add, and I need a little bit of mixture. I don't want yes men. I want people who will challenge me, but also moving forward know what it takes to be at this football club, and that's important to me.
Over the last few weeks in the matchday squad, you've had quite a lot of young players. How important is that, not just for the players, but for the club as well, to be promoting youth?
This club should promote youth. It should develop academy players. I've said it in interviews previously, I won't just put a young player in because I'm putting a young player in. The young player has to be good enough to be in, and there's a big difference in that. But I think, again, some of the changes you'll see, some will be around that. So it'll be making sure that the links between myself as manager and the academy are a lot tighter, making sure that we get to see him. I think that sometimes the issue with young players can be that you have an high profile young player who's doing really well. He comes with first team for 3 weeks. He doesn't play any games. He trains with first team, and then all of a sudden he goes off the boil because he's had no 90-minute games. And then everybody then thinks that he's not good enough, which isn't the case. So it's managing that as well. It's managing the workload. It's managing their time, but making sure that they're all underneath my eye so I can have a good look at them all.
So that's what you want to get through more of the club going forward?
Yeah, and again, look, that's the aim. Like, you could interview me in 18 months and I don't have one. However, like I'd say something had failed if that is the case. You've seen so far, we've got a couple of lads who've been in and around it. Look, hand on heart, they're not ready to be first team players, nowhere near yet. But it's down again to myself, staff, the academy, to work daily with them. If you speak to any one of them, which you can if you want, no problem. The extras that they do after training. So there's loads of different ways that we've been working with them, myself, the other members of staff, and trying to really develop them quicker than sometimes is possible. But again, that sometimes is the challenge with being a Category 3 academy.
Finally, Matt, any injury updates ahead of Stevenage?
No, everybody seems to be all right. Obviously, you saw a couple of people come on the pitch at Wigan. We'll monitor them and see if they can start a game or not. I'm not going to take any risks with any players at this stage. It'd be daft for me to do that when we start and getting them back. So we'll have a good couple of days training going into Sunday and then again next week and going into Peterborough. So you might see odd change, but I don't think there'll be loads and loads because unfortunately we don't have the bodies to do that.
Sorry, I hate doing this when I say just finally. Dan Gore pictured yesterday. How is he looking?
He looked all right, Sarah Maguire, didn't he? No, that's part of the scheduling. So we know what's happening. I think like sometimes things can get perceived in wrong ways. He's a lone player here. He's just come back from injury. We spoke to Man United because we didn't have the training numbers that we needed in terms of recovery groups, etc. So he's trained with Man United. So I'm hoping that he's learnt a lot off Ruben Amorim yesterday, and he can take something back to Man United after my session this weekend.
Brilliant. Cheers, Matt.
Liam Kelly over his illness.
Yeah, he's over his illness. We'll monitor him and see how he's get on, because he's like him and Jordan Hughel's training time hasn't been massive. Like Jordan's had a personal reason, so and Kel's has obviously been ill, so hence why they've not really seen him. It's not that I don't want to play him or don't want to put him on, but physically it's too much of a risk that it could end up being a long-term injury if I took unnecessary risk, really.
Yeah, and how's Zach Jules getting on?
Good. So he's joining back in today with the main group, which is good. Again, he's restricted to what he can and can't do. I wouldn't expect him to. Well, he won't be involved Sunday, and then we'll see next Saturday. But again, I don't see taking any unnecessary risk. He's just coming back, so it might be more beneficial for him to do his programme over summer.
Okay. Reece, how have you found your first full season at Rotherham?
Yeah, it's been good in the sense of, obviously I've managed to play mostly all the games this season. I think I've only missed 2 or 3, which has been enjoyable. I think it's been tough in terms of results. It's not where we've wanted to be, but we've stuck at it. We've tried to improve, and it's just been one of those seasons where it's been a little bit frustrating from what we thought it was going to be like. But hopefully we can make some progression and try again for next season.
How important has that been for you? The run of games that you've had. You haven't missed that many to get the minutes in.
Yeah, it's been massive. I think before you start season, you always set out goals for yourself and as a team. And I knew when I come in here it was going to be tough, because obviously you were against good competition for places. So ultimately, I wanted to try and play as many games as possible, and I've probably played more than what I thought I might have done, which again is a good thing, and avoided any injuries, which is a big thing as well now in football, obviously with the challenges it has, and as you're getting older as well and feel it a bit more in your body. But like I say, it's been enjoyable in terms of getting them games in.
How's it been playing under Matt Hamshaw?
Yeah, it's been good. I think he's kind of given us a little bit more of a freedom to play, something that I enjoy, playing out from the back. And it's like I say, it's been good. There's been results that have gone really well for us, but there's been obviously a couple now that we've maybe slipped up. The Wigan game, Stockport, and like I say, the draw at home against Mansfield. But you can see signs of there that we're improving. And he's had little time on the training pitch to actually implement the way he wants to work. But again, like I say, there's signs there. Hopefully, with a full pre-season, we can make some strides.
Like I said, he hasn't been in for long, but when he came in, what was his message to you in particular in terms of what he wanted to see from yourself?
Just play with a bit more freedom, probably a bit more belief, just to try and sort of take the shackles off a little bit. And like I say, it's just kind of again where you might make a mistake. It's not letting yourself go and kind of beat yourself up over it. It's mistakes happen in football. They happen at the top level. At the end of the day, it's a reaction from that. And like I say, I think it's something that he's tried instilling now in on us all.
Last 2 games of the season, then what do you want to see from yourself and the team?
I think just positive displays and results, hopefully. There's still a lot to play for in terms of you're trying to make sure that you're in the team come next season. Once you're approaching summer, that the manager's possibly looking at other players, bringing players in, whatever that might be. You're trying to nail down your position and hope that you can impress for next season. And like you say, you want to finish as high as you can in the table, and that's ultimately the main aim now.
Yeah, how big is that, like you've just said, about a new manager comes in and straight away, right, he's going to be in next season, as we know with Matt, I need to make my position for the next season.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's part and parcel. Again, like I said before about competitions for places, you want to be pushed at the end of the day. It only makes you a better player, and like I say, I think he'll have his targets. It's just ultimately what you can do now in this sort of time to impress him, to hopefully cement your place, or at least be sort of putting your name in the frame to sort of hold that position down.
We're looking forward to Matt Hamshaw pre-season.
Yeah, I've heard a few things about it. Obviously being tough being one of them, a lot of running, but like I say, I think that now you're kind of enjoying the seasons, you enjoy pre-season, and like I say, I think now you have to come back fit before you even start pre-season, so it's one of those, and I think like I say, we'll get our off-season programmes and sort of follow them as best as we can. But yeah, I'll be ready for first day of pre-season when it comes.